There is nothing more demoralizing in boxing than missing, not getting hit, missing. When you get hit, at least something landed. At least your punch existed. Missing means your punch went nowhere. You extended yourself, committed your weight, exposed your chin, and hit air. Do it enough times and something breaks inside you. Not physically, mentally. You start to doubt your timing. You start to hesitate. And the moment you hesitate against an elite fighter, it's over. The best fighters in the world don't just defend. They make you miss on purpose. They turn your aggression into your biggest weakness. They use your own punches against you. Today we're breaking down the 5 techniques elite fighters use to make you miss, and what it feels like to be on the receiving end of each one. Imagine you've landed your right hand on Floyd Mayweather 3 times in the first round. Clean shots, good power, you feel good. Round 2, you go back to it. Same setup, same timing, it vanishes. Not blocked, not slipped, it just disappears into his shoulder and dies there. And before you finish the punch, he's already countering off it. That is the shoulder roll. The mechanics are simple to explain and nearly impossible to master. As your punch arrives, Mayweather drops his lead shoulder inward, letting it absorb and deflect the shot, while simultaneously rolling his upper body just enough to take the sting out of the impact. His rear hand stays glued to his face the entire time. But here's what makes it different from just a defensive move. The shoulder roll isn't a reaction, it's a trap. By letting you throw, by almost inviting the right hand, Floyd loads his own left hook off the back of your committed punch. You're extended, your weight is forward, your chin is open, and his counter is already halfway there before you've recovered. The roll doesn't just make you miss, it makes missing hurt. And the more you throw, the more you feed the trap. The punch that felt like your best weapon in round 1 becomes the thing you're afraid to throw by round 8. Fighting Lomachenko feels like fighting someone who already knows what you're going to throw. You set up your jab, you throw it. His head is already gone. Not after the punch, not as the punch arrives, before, like he read your mind before you made the decision. That is elite level slipping. Slipping is the act of moving your head off the center line just enough for a punch to pass harmlessly by, inside, outside, barely inches either way. No wasted movement, just enough. What separates Lomachenko from almost everyone else is the combination of timing and economy. Most fighters slip reactively. They see the punch and move. Lomachenko slips predictively. He reads the setup, the shoulder, the weight shift, and his head is already moving before the punch leaves your hand. The feeling from the other side is deeply unsettling. You know your jab is fast. You've landed it on everyone. But against Lomachenko, it keeps finding air, and every time it misses, he's inside your space, throwing from an angle you didn't know existed. Because slipping doesn't just make the punch miss, it repositions him. Outside slip, he's now beside you with a clear line to your body. Inside slip, he's in your chest with an uppercut ready. Every miss is his opportunity, and he creates multiple opportunities per round. By the middle rounds, you're not just frustrated, you're afraid to throw because you know what missing costs you. You've been waiting all fight for this moment. You've set it up perfectly. Double jab, right hand. The combination you've drilled 10,000 times. The double jab lands. You load the right hand. You throw it with everything. Canelo leans back 2 inches. Just 2 inches. Your punch grazes air, and his right hand is already coming back at your now open, forward-leaning face. That is the pullback. And those 2 inches are the difference between a clean shot and a counter that drops you. The pullback sounds simple. It is anything but. The margin for error is razor thin. Too far back and you lose your base and your countering position. Not far enough and you eat the punch. The sweet spot, just outside the punch's reach, while staying balanced enough to fire back immediately, takes years to develop. What makes Canelo's pullback specifically devastating is the counter that follows. He doesn't pull back to survive, he pulls back to load. As your punch misses, His weight shifts back forward with his own shot already in motion. You've essentially punched yourself into his counter. Your momentum going forward, combined with his counter coming back, multiplies the impact of whatever lands. From the opponent's side, the pullback is a psychological nightmare because it punishes aggression. The harder you try, the more it costs you, and eventually you stop trying as hard, which is exactly what Canelo wants. A passive opponent is a controllable opponent. You've cut off the ring, you've backed Crawford into the corner, you've done everything right. You load up your best shot, and somehow he's not in the corner anymore. He's beside you, and you're the one against the ropes. You didn't see him move, you didn't feel him slip past you. He was just there, and now he's here, and the angles make no sense. That is the pivot, and Crawford uses it better than almost anyone alive. A pivot is a rotational movement off one foot that changes your position and angle without requiring you to step back or sideways. Instead of retreating from pressure, you rotate around it. You don't go away from your opponent, you go around them. The result is disorienting for the fighter applying pressure, because everything their footwork was designed to achieve, cutting off the ring, limiting escape routes, forcing you into corners, gets neutralized in a single movement. And it's not just defensive. Crawford's pivots consistently land him in positions where his opponent's back is turned slightly. Their weight is committed in the wrong direction, and he has a clear, unobstructed line to land. The pivot turns your aggression into your positioning problem. Fighting Crawford feels like chasing something that moves in 3 dimensions while you're only moving in 2. You apply pressure forward and he's already beside you. You cut left and he's already pivoted right. You back him up and somehow you end up in the corner. By the middle rounds, pressure fighters stop pressuring. Not because they're tired, because the pressure stopped making sense. This one is different from the others. There's no single technique to break down, no specific movement to isolate. Fighting Rigondeaux is death by 1,000 misses. Rigondeaux is never still. His upper body is always moving, swaying, shifting, dipping, in a constant, subtle rhythm that makes targeting him feel like trying to hit a reflection on water. The moment you think you have his head located, it's already somewhere else. And unlike head movement that happens in response to punches, Rigondeaux's motion is preemptive. He's not reacting to what you throw. He's making sure that wherever you throw, he won't be there. The result from the opponent's side is a specific kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with being hit. You're missing punches that should land. Punches you've landed on everyone else. Your combinations are finding air. Your timing is off. And you can't figure out why because nothing dramatic is happening. He's not rolling under your punches, not slipping dramatically, not pulling back spectacularly. He's just not there. That constant motion also does something else. It forces you to punch more to try to find him, which means you're burning energy on punches that miss, which means by round 7, you're tired, not from absorbing punishment, but from throwing it. Rigondeaux makes you beat yourself, and he does it so quietly that you barely notice it's happening until it's too late. 5 techniques, 5 different ways to make a punch miss. The shoulder roll turns your right hand into a loaded trap. Slipping repositions Lomachenko into angles you didn't see coming. The pullback makes Canelo's counter inevitable. Crawford's pivot makes your pressure work against you. And Rigondeaux's constant motion makes you exhaust yourself chasing a target that was never there. They look different, they feel different, but they all do the same thing. They take your aggression, your biggest asset, and make it your biggest problem. Because in boxing, the fighter who controls what misses controls the fight. Which of these 5 techniques do you think is the hardest to master? Let us know in the comments. Until next time.